Um, Hello friends, I am Vyomesh Singh. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how to study abroad or how to apply abroad for Masters and PhD with Kashvi. Kashvi has completed her B.Tech just right now and she got admission in the University of Michigan for PhD without even Masters. So today we are going to talk about little bit GRE, TOEFL, SOP and how to apply for further studies. Welcome, Kashvi.
Thank you so much, Vyomesh, for having me. A little introduction for me. My name is Kashvi Srivastav, and I've just completed my bachelor's in mathematics and computing engineering. I'm planning to begin my PhD in applied mathematics, as Vyomesh generously mentioned, this fall remotely at the University of Michigan. And I'm mostly interested towards researching in applied mathematics and its applications in computer science and physics. And yeah, other than the work part, I like to read books, I like to dance, and I also like to make friends and meet new people. So if you want to connect, you can always ping me. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm the most active there, so you can always connect with me. And yeah, thank you so much again for having me. And I would love to share my experiences and love to talk about the things that I've learned through my journey. And I hope that it helps some of the people out there.
You are selected directly for PhD without even masters. First thing, how you decided you want to go for PhD, as it requires so much time, patience, hard work, and it needs so much courage to apply for PhD without masters because it's a long-term commitment.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I would not deny the fact that PhD is a very long commitment, and it is very demanding, and it actually required a lot of courage, and I had to fight a lot of self-doubt to apply to PhD programs. So personally, I was always sure of actually going for higher studies. I always wanted to indulge in research, and but then the turning point came when I was researching at the University of British Columbia after my third year of bachelor's. So I did a research internship there, and I got to work with a lot of PhDs and postdocs, right? So I got to know that many universities accept direct PhD applications. And because I was very sure of going for a doctoral degree, even after I would have done my master's, so I thought that this was the thing made for me. So I researched a lot and I thought to apply for a direct PhDs, and it obviously took a lot of courage. One factor that I would say that played a huge role was that my professor at UBC was very supportive, and he arranged for me to come back. Like, I had the option of going back there for a master's in mathematics. And it was a very lucrative option for me, right? Like, I loved the place, I loved the people there, I loved the work there. So I could have gone there anytime. So I just decided to shoot my best shot at other places, and luckily I got through one.
As you have mentioned, you got selected for Mitacs Globalink Research Internship in the University of British Columbia. So, how you got selected there and what was their procedure?
Right. So my tax is actually something that I've talked a lot about on my LinkedIn. You can find the articles and stuff there. But for a little introduction, my tax is basically a Canadian organization which invites undergrad students around the world, I guess 8 to 9 countries, to conduct quality research at Canadian universities through summer research programs. So Globalink is one of them, and you can go there and conduct research at Canadian universities for 8 weeks to 12 weeks in your summer break. And this is a very coveted internship. This is very prestigious. And if you're someone who's looking into pursuing research, this is something you should definitely look into. The application procedure is, I would say, very structured. It is very proper. And this is not that we find in most of the research internships. The application procedure is basically some more or less like the graduate applications. It's a small form of graduate applications. You have to mention your CV, you have to mention your CGPA, your research interests, your research background, some internships, and all of that. And other than that, the most important thing in Mitacs is that it offers a huge pool of projects that you can work on, right? So you have to go through the projects and you have to select which projects that are there that you want to apply to and that you find that are the most suitable and that can be your entry to Mitacs. And yeah, so you select the projects, you submit your application with all the other factors, and then there is a screening by Mitacs itself, and they decide your first round through the factors, and then your application goes to the professors that you have chosen in your projects. So that's that. We can talk about more about the application procedure, but the only thing that I would like to mention here are the benefits of Mitacs Globalink, because there are a lot, right? Like the topmost that comes to my mind is the stipend. It is a huge, like it is very adequate to suffice your stay there, but many of my friends also saved a lot of money, so that's that. That's always a huge lucrative for us Indians, I guess. The Canadian universities are some of the top universities in research. People there are very helpful. The professors you will find there are very supportive to whatever career interests that you have. And also the fact that Mitacs also supports you if you want to go back to to Canada to pursue your graduate studies is a huge factor for helping you to decide whether to apply or not. So basically, if you have completed your Mitacs Globalink Research Internship and you come back to India, right, and then you apply to the graduate applications in Canada, if you want to go back there and you decide to go back there basically for your master's or PhD, then the Globalink, Mitacs Globalink Graduate Fellowship, they basically provide you a one-time fellowship. That's a huge amount for scholarship. So that's also a very good, incentive to apply for this. So yeah, I would definitely suggest it to anyone who's trying to pursue research, and it is a great opportunity.
Many students don't feel very comfortable to apply for internship in such a big labs. So how should their CV should be to apply there, and what skills or knowledge should they have to apply for that kind of research labs?
No, that is true. I feel like a major factor that plays in whether you get selected is the first thing of whether you apply or not, right? Like we tend to hold back on opportunities just because we think we are not good enough. But I did that, but I would not suggest it to anyone out there, because there are plenty of opportunities and there are plenty of positions that are actually waiting for you. So for Mitacs specifically, I would say that there are a lot of factors, but then you should obviously look into things that are very common to what a research position expects, right? So there is your CGPA. You should always maintain a good CGPA if you want to research further and if you want to apply to our broad positions. The CV should have, I would say that your research interests and your research background should somewhat align to what you are applying to, right? So for Mitacs, because you are supposed to select 7 projects out of a huge pool of projects, I guess there are thousands and thousands of projects. So whatever projects you are applying to, if you want to give your best shot, I would say that those should align with what you've already done and with what you have your background in, right? And then so this can include internships, this can include trainings. Like I had a research training in linear algebra, so I applied to projects which had their prerequisites in linear algebra and calculus. So this would mean that the professors could see that I had background in the particular subject. Also your coursework should somewhat, but this is not like a huge thing, because people tend to learn a lot online these days. So your coursework can align with the projects that you're applying to. And other than that, you should explicitly mention whatever your research interests are. You should mention what projects you have worked on and how you have learned through them, and why do you think that research is the right thing for you. Yeah.
How many internships you have applied for?
So basically, the thing is that Mitacs is very early on. Like if you want to apply for a summer 2021 position, then Mitacs starts its application in August 2020. So, and it's a long and it's a lengthy process, right? So I decided to apply to a plenty of internships. I would say I shortlisted like 10 to 12, but then I only ended up applying to 2 to 3, I would say.
Two and
Yeah.
three all in the MyTech or anywhere else also?
No, Mitacs is one internship. I also applied to the SN internship, which is basically for interning at US universities. But and I also applied to one in Japan, which is called OIST. But then these internships, the process is very late. Like we receive the results around April the next year. So till then, my entire process of Mitacs was done. I received the acceptance letter and everything. So I just went with it because I really liked the project.
They offered you masters itself just after completion of your internship. So
Yeah, yeah.
is it happen with many students or you were the exceptional? Means a student, that means if a student want to pursue a master's somewhere, some research lab like MyTech, so he should go for internship or directly apply there for masters.
Uh, Going through the internship at a university is a very I would say a fast track option, because it makes you known to the university and known to the professors that you want to work under, and b, it also helps you decide whether the university is correct for you or not, right? Like it cannot be that all the top universities are the perfect places for you. You have to decide from your point of view too. So that ways actually doing an internship at a university would really help you make this decision. So with my tax, I would say that many students, a huge percentage of students who go for a Mitacs internship actually tend to go back and at least receive offers for a master's there, because because the professors see the potential in students and they build a relationship, and they and also because the masters in Canada is research based, so you would have to do a master's thesis, and the professor would want you to come back if you have an ongoing project and if he or she liked your work. So this is a common norm in for many students, and it happens to other for other internships too. Like because you must have seen, even for the industrial positions, you apply to an internship and then you get a PPO right after your internship, right? So it's the same thing. Like they want you to come back for a full-time position. It's just that you're coming back for a degree.
Any tips and tricks you want to share with the students who want to apply for internship in India and abroad as well, and some good universities you want to name, or some
Um,
good internship like MyTech or anything else?
Yeah, for sure. So there are a lot of organizations and I would say third-party organizations that offer these kind of scholarships. So basically, you can apply for an internship even through direct cold mailing, right, to professors and to universities. But the only thing that comes as a hindrance here is the funding. So these organizations which allow you to intern there and provide you a good funding are always a win-win situation. So Mitacs Globalink is one of them. It has, I guess, a good amount of funding as compared to other internships. There is also one called DAAD Wise, that's Dad Wise, which allows you to apply for German universities, and it gives a huge funding, so you could stay there. adequately with adequate funding. And then there is SN obviously. There are plenty in Japan. There are national universities there which allow you to come to for summer internships. Um, then there are also, even for universities in Canada, there are other organizations which provide you scholarships. So there is one is Mitacs, there is one called Shastri, Indo-Canadian Fellowship. So this is, I guess, a pact between India and Canada, which will provide you funding for your internship. There is also called Charpak. So there are plenty of internships, and you should always, be on top of such opportunities if you want to apply for positions abroad. And even for India, there are a lot of research internships which are offered by universities like IISc, by IITs, and by ISI, ICER. So these all universities are very, are conducting good quality research. So you should always apply to these universities. And it is also, you can also, try the cold mailing thing more in India, because funding should not be that big a problem if you're going to shift in India itself. So you can also apply directly to professors, and you can tell them that their research interests you most, so you would want to come for an internship position, and they might invite you with or without funding. So that's always a catch there. But you should obviously apply for internship positions, if research internship positions, if you are wanting to go for higher education.
Okay. You have selected for the PhD just after the bachelor's. If any of a student who want to apply for PhD without master's, so what should you suggest to them? How should they
Right.
apply?
So Um, I would say that there are two main factors that you should keep in mind. First, you should be very sure of applying to a PhD, because this is a long commitment, right? Like, you should go through online resources, and you should answer yourself a lot of questions as to why you want to pursue a PhD, and whether this is the correct choice for you or not. And you should always, because this would take up 5 to 6 years and a lot of commitment and a lot of hard work. Um, um, and coming up with a research thesis and a PhD thesis and all of that is not a trivial task. So you should always be very sure if you want to apply to PhD or not. And secondly, I would say that not all universities offer PhD programs directly after bachelor's. So if you are someone who has already decided to go for a PhD, then you should actually research thoroughly through your dream universities, and go through their websites, go through the profiles, go through the departments and stuff, and see whether the programs that they're offering allows you to directly apply for a bachelor's. There's always a section of eligibility criterias, and they will always tell you whether your background is eligible for applying to the program or not. And also, if you're not very sure, I would suggest you to go through programs like the fast track program or the bridge program. So these programs are also for bachelor students who want to pursue PhD, but actually want to go through a shortcut masters before that. So it will allow you to do a masters in 1.5 years and then directly go to a PhD. So if that's something for you, then you should definitely look through it. And personally, because always believed in going for a doctoral degree even after I would do my masters, so I looked through it. But then I believe that this is a trend mostly in sciences like maths and physics. So because people in sciences fields, they tend to go for a PhD even after masters, right? So I guess universities have tried to cut short the years and actually consolidate both degrees into one. But if you're someone in, I would say, computer science, and if you want to apply to an industrial position uh, right after your masters, then I guess PhD would not be the correct option for you, and you can go for a masters and complete your graduate coursework, and then apply for an industrial position. So it requires a lot of researching and a thorough exploration from the internet that you should do before actually deciding what degree you would want to go to.
Could you please little bit explain more about the fast track program or bridge program?
Yeah, so basically, from what I have read, these programs are they basically allow students to um, apply from a bachelor's and complete their masters in 1.5 years. So basically, masters is mostly of 2 years in the US or Canada, right? So if you apply to a bridge program, you can take graduate coursework and you can work through your thesis. But if you think that you're eligible for a PhD right after 1 year, then you would be able to shift to a PhD. And fast track program is just like that. And if you have a good background, but you think that you would want to go through a master's first before going through a PhD, then you can apply to a fast track or a bridge program. And even in University of Michigan, there is a bridge program, and it allows you to take like courses with the PhD students, and it allows you to sit in seminars and all of that and take qualifying exams, and you can transfer to a PhD after 1 or 2 years.
Okay. Uh, what are the selection criteria for master and PhD for university like University of Michigan or any big university abroad, US, Canada, and Europe?
Yeah, so I would say that it is more or less similar. Like the PhD criteria are more or less similar to what a master's applicant would include in his or her application. But then the two things that I found were different uh, uh, are, the first one would be the research section. So the research statement has to be very like specific and very explicit in your PhD application, because you are going, this is like the ultimate degree, I guess, for research. So you would want to actually apply to the subfield that you would actually want to work on for the next 5 years. So you should be very specific of what subfield you want to apply to and what professors you would want to work with, or what research lab you would want to work with. But then I'm not saying that you should actually propose a research question in your statement right itself, because that also narrows down your chances. So there is a very fine line, and you have to walk on that, and you have to mention your research interests and your research, I would say, goals, which align to the university directly. And then, other than that, I would say the one thing that I found different than the master's application was the GRE subject test. So, GRE general test is basically a basic, coverage of English and math, but the GRE subject test actually evaluates you on your undergrad training. So for me, I had to apply, sit for the GRE subject test in mathematics, which included all of the topics that I've read in my undergrad mathematics majors, and also some new. So the major factor would be here about uh, structuring your statement in a way that actually aligns with what the PhD program is offering, and researching through the program very thoroughly to find the research labs and to find the professors that you would want to work with. Because in the end, even after your application is selected through the applicant pool, you might have to go through an interview with the professors that you mentioned in your statement. So you would want to mention the professors that actually research in your particular field, and which you can resonate with in the longer run. Yeah.
Should anyone first approach to the professor he want to work with, or he can directly approach via university portal? Like I believe you have applied through university portal itself.
Yeah, so I guess that this was the norm, like till recent times, that PhD positions were only accepted through professors. But then, since they have, offered direct programs, they actually want students to directly apply through the university portal, and then they select students from the applicant pool, and then the professors might contact you for further discussions, right? So I tried to contact some professors beforehand, before sending in my applications, but they all were very generous in telling me that this is not required. Like, they would only be able to see my application if it is selected after, after the shortlisting from the applicant pool itself, like an entire general applicant pool shortlisting. So they would not be able to offer me individual positions in their particular research lab. So I guess this is something that you would want to search on the website itself, into whether the professors are accepting PhD students directly through mailing or through, you know, direct applications, or whether the department is accepting PhD students and then they'll be allocating PhD students to different advisors. So yeah, you might want to mail some professors if you want to build a connection, if you want to build a relationship, and you want to, convey your research interest to them. But it is not required, as in it is not necessary for applying to a PhD through the common application portal.
SOP played very major role in your selection, in anyone's selection for masters or PhD. So, what do you suggest? How should anyone prepare for SOP?
Right. I totally believe that SOP plays a huge role in your application, just like any other factor that you would include. But then SOP is the place where you would want to include all the details that were not included in your CV or in your, other application sections. So the first things first, as there are many, most of the universities actually accept two different statements. So one is the statement of purpose and the other one is personal statement. So the statement of purpose is very technical. It is very cut to the point, and it requires you to mention your research background and your interests. But the personal statement can be a little bit informal, and you can jot down your personal story as to what motivated you to apply to the program, and what motivates you and to actually conduct research, and what all hardships you have come over to reach where you've reached, and to go further from that. So we'll mostly talk about SOP here. The statement of purpose is basically a place where you can explain all the research background that you have, the internships, the projects that you've worked on, what all learning that you've gained throughout that, and why do you want to pursue a PhD degree at that particular university. So the rough structure that I followed was basically into 4 sections. So the first one is the very basic introduction, right? Like, what are you going to mention in your SOP? Like, what is the one liner that can actually intrigue a person to read your SOP? So that what question has to be answered here, as in what are you trying to convey from your SOP, and what do you want the reader to know about you? Now next is why you. So why you question is very important. You have to very properly mention the reasons as to why you think that research is the correct option for you. Mention your research background, mention the internships that you did, mention the projects that you did, mention the environment that you were set in when you were doing a research project, and why you think that you would want to work in that environment for the next 5 years. And mention the background that you required for each and every project, that you had to go through this and this book, you had to learn this and this on your own in this limited time, and all of that. So why you is a very important question. It will actually compel the readers to understand why you are a perfect fit for the universities. Second is third, I would say, is the why them question. So why them is basically, why are you choosing that particular university for your PhD degree or for your master's degree? So why them is the next question that you would want to answer. You should include uh, professors that you would want to work with, why the university, why the department is such an incentive for you to apply, what courses do they offer that that excite you, and basically what is the overall structure that will actually be a conducive environment for you to flourish through your career. So why them is an equally important question. This would actually convey the fact that you have sit down and framed your SOP individually for all the universities. You have not just given generic SOPs to all the universities, right? Which is very important for a graduate application. And the last question I would say is why the program? So this can be somewhat generic, but then I had my personal reasons for each and every university because of the different structure of the program that they were offering. So you should mention the conclusive part of the SOP should be why do you think that a PhD program at that particular university is the correct fit for you, and how do you think that this degree would actually encourage you to move further in your career, and how do you want to use the degree in actually moving further in your career. So if you are someone that is looking for industrial positions after your PhD or masters, so you can mention something like the practical training that the degree provides, or the opportunities that the degree provides, the industrial collaboration that the degree provides is very important to you. If you are looking for academic positions, you can mention something like the coursework, the in-depth knowledge that the specialization courses provide, that are very important to you. The teaching training that the course provide is very important to you, because you've already mentioned the research part before. So this section should actually mention the small things that the degree that makes the degree unique from other universities, which actually provide you the incentive to apply there.
Is it necessary to publish some paper to apply for PhD?
Uh, I would say this is a very subjective question, because, yeah, obviously it does play a huge role in your application, and it can make your application outshine from the other applications. But then the only thing that I would, the only message that I would like to send here is that is not to run after quantity over quality. So I know research papers and publications are very important in graduate applications, but you would not want to come off as someone who's just running after quantity and publication after publication, and there is no good quality research. So the universities and the professors, they are looking for good quality research and good experience. Like, you should have learned a lot in your project, even if it took like 1 or 2 years, right? You should not want to do 2 months project and then publish it at some random place, and then mention it in your profile just because it is a publication, because that would not come off as a good experience. You would not have learned that much in 2 months time, right? So it is very good if you're working hard on a publication, but the thing is that you should not be disheartened, and you should not feel like you don't want to apply to places if you don't have any publications, because that is not what they're looking for. They're looking for experience. They're looking for good quality research. Like, you should have come up with good results. You should have come up with good theory. You should have learned a lot, right? So they're looking for that rather than just a number on your profile. Yeah.
If someone had not published any paper, but he had done some project, so what do you think? He has a chances?
Yeah, I mean, if the project was research based, so research is a very broad term, and I would say that if you were into some innovative things, like even people with tech only industrial background tend to apply to research positions like PhDs or masters, and they tend to get through, right? Because it is the experience that shows on the profile. So even if you were into some innovative things and you have come up with some new theories, or even you were doing some literature reading and all of that, so it will definitely show up in your profile if you explain it very properly, and if you explain that you have conducted research in a research environment under a professor at an organization. And even if you don't have a publication, I am sure that they will count it as an experience, and they will definitely add it to your profile.
What should be the decent GRE score to crack a decent university?
Uh, Again, this is a very vague, fuzzy line between the GRE, and some people tend to say that this is just a qualifier sort of a thing, that you can get this amount of marks and then you would qualify, and then people would not look at your GRE. Some people tend to say that this is a tiebreaker if two people have the same types of profiles, and if then GRE would play as a tiebreaker. I would just say that you should focus on it as an element that is required, and you should try to come up with the best that you can. Now, as per me personally, as far as I've read, 320, or I would say 320 to 325 is a pretty good score for applying to the top universities. So if you can forego that, then I guess you can apply to all the top universities without any problem. Other than GRE, I would say that TOEFL is something that you would want to look into through the university's websites, because many universities don't mention a cutoff for GREs, but they do mention a cutoff for TOEFL because it is an English language test, right? So you should look through the website and see what cutoff they're asking for. Mostly it is 90 to 100, and the speaking section has a cutoff, like an individual cutoff, so you should also look into that. Other than that, you should be fine if you have above 320 GRE score and above 110 TOEFL score, and you should be able to apply to the top 20 universities. And this is a very personal opinion, but this is what I've researched. Yeah.
Does GRE score plays a role your master's or PhD is funded or not?
um I would say no, because so firstly, PhD is mostly fully funded, and you would get a full tuition waiver, and you would get a stipend as per your teaching assistantships or research assistantships. But then for masters, this varies from place to place. Now, what I researched when I was applying was that TOEFL might play a good role in getting you a teaching assistantship. So if you're a master's student, you might want to get an on-campus job if that is not included, already included in your offer letter. So on-campus job can be a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship or anything like that in a research lab or something. So your TOEFL score might play a role in the teaching assistantship because that requires a good command over English. And if you have a poor speaking score, or if a poor listening score, I would say, then that might play a role. But then other than that, I don't think that this is too big a, you know, factor, because universities also provide English speaking, I would say, courses to international students. So I think you should be fine.
Thank you, Kashvi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you, and I hope that some people, would learn or at least find this interesting.
I think it would be very helpful for a student who want to apply abroad.
I hope so too. I mean, this takes a lot of research, and people, we have put a lot of internet hours into actually coming up with our application. So I would love if someone can actually benefit from it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kashvi.
Thank you so much.
Please do like, share, and subscribe if you like the video and information provided by the Kashvi.